into removing the output shaft, output sleeve on the crankshaft. So you see there, I have the impeller tool inside of the splines of the output sleeve, because the output sleeve splines are the exact same as the impeller splines. So with that in there, what I grab is what I know works very well, which is our tried and true monkey wrench. So rather than going an adjustable wrench, or I used box-in wrenches and they just flex too much. So you get you a real sturdy tool like this. It's very unconventional, but it works very well. Next, you'll notice the string in the number one cylinder. You could also remove on the side of the engine just behind the starter is the crankshaft locking tool, so you can lock the crank, or you can just put some string inside the number one cylinder. Just be careful that you're in the right position of the power stroke so that all of your valves are closed. So you don't want your exhaust valve open. If you're not in the power stroke, the exhaust valve will open. And then prior to being in the power stroke, you have air intake. Now obviously those valves will open and close, and then you'll be going up into your power stroke. But enough of that. So here, that's how I locked the crankshaft. So now that won't spin. I have my pipe wrench on the impeller shaft tool, and then I want to pull or twist or turn this wrench, in this case, or my orientation towards me, that would be counterclockwise. So if you're facing the back of the ski, it would be to the left, lefty-loosey, as you would with any other a removal of most other items on the ski that don't involve any spinning or turning. In this case, you can use a breaker bar. I usually take the bar off of my jack and I'll put it on there. That is a little too large, so I actually had to use this here, which is just a steel cylinder that I have. This fits over the handle, so that's really the only purpose of this, is to fit over the handle of the pipe wrench. And then obviously the other end of my breaker bar goes inside. The whole name of the game is leverage. You don't want to do any jerking or anything like that. You just really want to apply force and then continue to apply force evenly and consistently until this eventually breaks. And then as you can see, once it finally breaks, you'll be able to twist it, and my output sleeve will begin to turn itself off of the crankshaft. So it is doable. It takes a lot of force. It actually took me a few hours. I actually had to go and buy this cheap monkey wrench, cheap pipe wrench. I tried to use my impact, but a 1/2-inch drive just didn't seem like it was enough. You could weld some contraptions. Obviously, a lot of us don't have access to welders, so if you just use your impeller spline tool, a pipe wrench, and a breaker bar, cheater bar, you'll have great success getting it off. The piece we're looking to get off is this piece here. This is the output sleeve. I have it right now in the drive shaft of the ski. The reason why I changed the output sleeve is because the drive shaft stripped. I put a new drive shaft in, and I instructed the customer that they could have issues because if they stripped the drive shaft on the engine side, chances are that this output sleeve would be bad. And the same is true if you strip it on the impeller side. If the impeller is fine, it doesn't mean that it didn't take on any damage. So replacing everything usually is the best way to go. Now while we're here, let's take a look at what we were experiencing. This is the old output sleeve. So take a look inside of there at the splines, you'll notice they start about halfway down the output sleeve. And then let's take a look at the new one. Oh my goodness, they're right there in your face. So obviously I've stuck the impeller tool inside of here just to see what I can see or feel what I can feel with any play. So now that I got that cleaned up a little bit, you can take a look at the output sleeve. Look at the splines on there. Look at how defined they are and look where they start at. Now let's take a look at these. Huge difference. Half of the splines are worn out on this output sleeve. And so that would explain why the customer heard that whirring or grinding noise. My camera's getting hot again. And then if we look at the drive shaft, we'll see that luckily for us, this drive shaft was now stronger than the output sleeve. So we didn't have any damage to the drive shaft.